In this segment, we'll show you how to assemble your new Agri-Fab 175-pound Polypro spiker spreader. Now, assemble the chain around the sprockets and fasten the ends using the connecting link. Then temporarily install two 5/16" by 1" carriage bolts with the 5/16" nylock nuts with the bolt heads facing the long end of the lift tube assembly. Next, attach the lift tube assembly using two shoulder bolts and two 3/8" hex lock nuts. Then connect the tongue to the holes just below the frame assembly tube using two 1/4" by 5/8" hex bolts and 1/4" nuts. Do not tighten them yet. Now attach the tongue to the frame using two 1/4" by 3/4" hex bolts, four 1/4" flat washers, and two 1/4" hex nuts. Do not tighten them yet. Then attach the tongue to the center braces using four 1/4" by 5/8" hex bolts and 1/4" nuts. Do not tighten them yet. Now assemble the plastic grip onto the end of the flow control arm. Then insert the flow control arm through the hole in the slot of the hopper brace. Now place a 1/4" flat washer, then the nylon washer on a 1/4" by 1 1/4" hex bolt, and then slide it through the flow control arm. Then add another nylon washer and slide the bolt through the hopper brace's bracket. Now add two 1/4" hex nuts. Tighten the first hex lock nut until there is noticeable resistance moving the flow control arm, and then tighten the second lock nut. Now place the flow control rod through the hole at the end of the flow control arm. Then assemble the two ferrules onto the threaded ends of the rod so that approximately 10 threads extend through the ferrules. Now attach the hopper brace using two 1/4" by 5/8" hex bolts, one 1/4" flat washer, and two 1/4" nylock hex nuts. Make sure not to tighten them yet. Then place the end of the hitch bracket with two holes down through the slot in the tongue. Attach the hopper brace to the top of the tongue and the hitch bracket to the bottom with 3/8" by 1" hex bolt and one 3/8" nylock nut. Be sure not to tighten them yet. Now, insert the tongue brace through the slot in the end plate. Fasten the front hole of the tongue brace with a 1/4" by 5/8" hex bolt and a 1/4" hex nut. Fasten the rear hole with a 1/4" by 3/4" hex bolt, 1/4" flat washer, and one 1/4" hex nut with the bolt and washer coming from inside the hopper. Make sure not to tighten them yet. Fasten the other end of the tongue brace to the side of the tongue using two 1/4" by 5/8" hex bolts and 1/4" hex nuts. Make sure not to tighten them yet. Now, repeat the previous steps to attach the other tongue brace. You may go back and tighten all the installed fasteners. Next, install a wheel onto the lift tube assembly with a 1/2" by 4" hex bolt and a 1/2" washer on either side of the wheel, followed by a 1/2" hex jam nut. Slide the assembly through the lift tube, then add a 1/2" lock washer and a 1/2" hex jam nut. Tighten the nut, and then repeat for the other wheel. Next, assemble the flow control gauge to the hopper brace using the 1/4" by 3/4" carriage bolt, a nylon washer, and the plastic knob. Check to see that the ferrules are adjusted so that approximately 10 threads of the control rod are exposed. Insert both ferrules into the riveted brackets on the flow plates. Then, finger tighten a 1/4" hex nut onto each ferrule. To check for the correct opening of the hopper flow plates, set the flow control gauge to the highest setting. Move the flow control arm away from the hopper and rest it on the gauge. The slots in the bottom of the hopper should be completely open, and the edge of the flow plates should be clear of the ends in all the slots. If the flow plates are not straight up with the slots, screw one ferrule up and down on one side of the control rod. If the flow plates open too far or not far enough, screw both ferrules up and down on the control rod. Move the flow control rod toward the hopper to the off position and verify that the flow plates cover the slots in the bottom. Tighten the lock nuts and then loosen them a quarter turn. To check for proper tension on the hopper flow plates, set the flow control gauge to the mid-range setting. Move the flow control arm against the gauge. Press firmly against the front of the flow plates at the bottom of the hopper. The flow control arm should not move. If the arm moves, tighten the hex lock nuts on the flow control arm until movement is prevented. Now, attach the transport handle to the lift assembly arm using the pre-assembled 5/16 by 1 inch carriage bolts and two 5/16 inch nylock nuts. Then, slide the grip handle onto the transport handle. Next, attach the chain cover to the frame assembly using two 1/4 inch by 5/8 inch hex bolts, 1/4 inch flat washers, and 1/4 inch hex nuts. Install the hitch pin and an 1/8 inch cotter pin in the hitch bracket and tongue.